Mm. What do y'all need to know? The Nine of Swords. So the first card at the beginning here is Nine of Swords. Yeah, definitely need to stop and slow down for a second and really think about what's actually really bugging you. And I think a lot of you guys already know, but the problem is that a lot of the times when we have a base worry, that base worry can, manifest itself in our brain and create a beautiful problem tree. Okay, so we already have the tree growing, right? The problem is to like arisen from the grass, arisen from the ground, and then another idea of what could spawn from this problem not being fixed creates a branch, and then another branch of that another problem. It could be a totally different scenario, and it just branches off to become this flourishing, beautiful tree of disaster. Now, the thing is, we don't want to get to this point, because I think the Nine of Swords would indicate here that you guys are under a lot of stress. You guys are not sleeping very well because that stress is keeping you up at night, and you haven't taken the time out to, yes, to step back and rest and think things through. You have a powerful mind, Gemini, and you can use it for good. Right now, you're using it in a way that isn't benefiting you. Or for some of you guys, you're aware that your or your thoughts are being your enemy. You don't have to let it be your enemy. You can work together with it. You don't ever have to let your brain be a separate entity of yourself. So this is this is the biggest thing I'm seeing here for a lot of you guys. Is the stress is becoming to be too much. All right. Oh, we have a card that's upright already. High Priestess. Okay. Secrets. Something tells me that you guys already know the answer to what will fix your problem here with the Nine of Swords. And it may have to do with being patient and not actually doing anything, which is the hardest part. That's what stresses you out. There's actually no action that's needed to be taken. And because there is nothing to do, it makes you worry. Because you're not in a situation or in a position to actually move or to do something that would cause something. What's stressing Gemini out? Can we get something to understand what's stressing Gemini out? What is stressing Gemini out completely? What is stressing Gemini out? The King of Wands. Well, very blatantly, the King of Wands is stressing y'all out. You have the Aries, Leo, Sagittarius card, or mainly Leo. Somebody that's very proud. Somebody that's very, confident in themselves, very passionate. This person is stressing you out. This person right here is stressing you out. Now, this could be just nobody in your life at all. This could be your confidence and, your desire to travel, your desire to explore and be yourself, to do something fun and have something going for you in your life. Because there's stagnancy that says something here, right? The Four of Swords talks about taking a break, not doing anything, resting, reflecting, and then the Nine of Swords. Some of you guys, here's the situation. Either you guys need the time to take a break, take a moment to recognize that something's, either recognize something's bugging you, or take a moment to just kind of break away from what's bugging you. Stop taking so much action, stop doing so much, being such an active individual, and just rest, right? Just purely just rest. Now, and then the other end is that some of you guys have been resting, have been taking some time out, and it's bugging you that you don't know what to do to get your energy up, to go out and do something that's inspirational and motivates you to continue to push on. Right? So some of you guys are having a hard time or struggling to be motivated to do something. Okay? Now, at the same time, this could be a totally different individual. This could be someone that you're dating, and like I said, a Leo, Sagittarius, or an Aries. This can also just indicate that this is someone around you that has characteristics of the King of Wands. Very passionate, very energetic, always doing something, the life of the party. They're full of energy. They can be very aggressive, and they can also be, very demanding. They may want their freedom, but the thing is, it's like this person is very self-absorbed, right? So, there may be some issues with this individual in regards to how they perceive themselves and how they perceive you, how they are considerate in the relationship or not. Now, the King of Wands is never inconsiderate to the people around him. He knows how to take care of himself and make sure his needs are there first, while not necessarily compromising or doing something terrible to someone else. He's not a horrible king. He's just very focused on the self, but he doesn't focus on the self that would inconvenience anybody, that would, that would show unkindness to anyone else's and anyone else's experience. He doesn't want to affect other people's experiences directly. It's not that he wants to just destroy your life or do something in your life. If he wants to spend time with you, that's great. He knows that it'll affect your experience, but none in which there's malice behind. But let's go ahead and take a look as to why the King of Wands is exactly causing you this much stress. One more card for it. The King of Swords. Damn. You got the King of Swords and the King of Wands in this reading. So King of Swords, the King of Wands. The reason why the King of Wands is giving you a headache is because of the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords could be you too, Gemini. It could be you, or Aquarius, or a Libra. But the thing is that maybe this person has gotten cold. This person is not active anymore. This person is not taking action. Maybe this person has kind of resided a little bit to kind of become very defensive and very argumentative and very aggressive. I already said aggressive twice. It could be that this person is not really making a lot of sense. Okay? Because I think how this works is that this person may have a lot of energy, a lot of fire, a lot of passion, but they don't really commute. It doesn't really make sense to the King of Swords here. Okay? Some of you guys, especially those of you that are in the same sex relationships here, this is going to indicate here that you guys are having a dynamic of logic and an emotion, right? Logic and just being. Someone's thinking too far ahead, someone's thinking too much, while the other one is not thinking enough. Right? The King of Wands would not be thinking. He's just like, okay, this is what I want, I'm going to go for it. This is what I believe in, I'm going to walk in my truth. Not just talk about it and discuss it and hash it out, and he's going to walk the talk. The King of Wands walks the talk. The King of Swords, he walks the talk too, in a sense, but he'll always have that debate. He'll always communicate. He'll always think it through. But the thing is, the King of Swords is also very stubborn. He already knows his truth. He already knows what he wants. He already knows what he's going for. And I feel like the King of Wands and the King of Swords can powwow together pretty well, but when it comes to rational understanding, these two are starkly different. So, definitely a fire sign and an air sign energy, or just like the comprehending one another's understanding of things. Somebody doesn't make sense in this situation, or somebody is seeming like they don't make a lot of sense, but they're truly just following their heart. They're going by what feels right versus what is right. What feels right to them versus what is legitimately right. What moral code is up. Okay. Why is this? What is this? What is this? How is this affecting the love life specifically? Honestly, I want to actually know. What are the disagreements between the King of Wands and the King of Swords? What is the disagreement between the King of Wands and the King of Swords? I don't know why I think disagreement, but I feel like it's disagreement here. Because if there was no conflict, then you wouldn't be stressed. So, what is the disagreement? What is the conflict between the King of Wands and the King of Swords? What is the conflict between the King of Wands and the King of Swords? What's the conflict? Oh wow, committing to love. The Ace of Cups and the Hierophant. Wow. Commitment to love. Commitment to emotional growth. Commitment to spiritual growth. Or a change in the way someone achieves emotional growth. It's interesting because I did a reading for a client, and the person was a Gemini, and they were in a same-sex relationship as well. But the problem that person was having was that they had been in a relationship prior that was very difficult for them to see any sort of potential, relationship with someone else if it wasn't already established to be, stable, committed, and so forth. If some of you guys are having an issue coming outside of your comfort zone and dating somebody new, it's this person may be coming in, this king ones may be coming in to show you that the situation is not about rational thinking. It's about going for what you feel is right. And a lot of times you're not going to have a certain situation just play out in the way you want it to. And it's not necessarily about what you want. It's more of like, is it possible? And a lot of times, especially with the individual I was reading for, it wasn't possible for that person to expect a committed relationship from the person the second they start dating. That was unrealistic. So the situation here is showing me is like some of you guys may be aware that what you guys have to do to have a beautiful relationship with somebody is to be yourself and to let time pass and let time just be, to grow that relationship. Real roots to put down in the relationship instead of just saying, okay, I'm not going to be with you unless you're really looking for a serious relationship. You don't know what you want from this person until you know who this person is. You got to give this person a chance. Believe it or not, wands, fire, and air energy go along very well together. But you won't know how well it goes together until you spend the time to figure that out, which is why the Hierophant and the Ace of Cups is here. This is a growing process. This is about connecting with your emotions. I think for some of you guys, you've been detached from your emotions for a long time because it's been very painful to deal with or to remember or to even, have anything to do with love because of your past experience. But this person looks like they're going to be bringing in new energy, bringing in new life. And this person brings out a side of you that you can be happy with. But I think this also puts you in a position of being even more defensive because it's putting yourself at risk, right? It's a chance game. It's not necessarily, there's no guarantee that this is going to end in a way that you guys live happily ever after. But it doesn't mean it can't, just because there isn't a sign of it now. It takes growth, it takes time, it takes patience for it to grow out. And I see this in this relationship, I see this reading. You have to be yourself. You have to look and see who you are through this person. And you have to understand and see who this person is for you in this relationship before you can decide, is this the path that I want to go down? Is this person someone I want to live with for the rest of my life? Is this someone I want to marry? Is this someone I want to have kids with? Is this someone I want to live the rest of my life with? Period. And that is going to take time. And that's why I think this is why you have to kind of be patient here. I think this is why, either taking a step back to just slow down and relax, or to just go out and do it, take a chance, take a leap of faith, and, just see how it goes. It's better than just not doing it at all, and better than, just kind of cutting your losses, So, what is the overall outcome for Gemini? Damn, Judgment. That's a second opportunity. But Judgment with the Eight of Wands. You guys are getting 2 cards for everything that's being explained today. Underneath that is the Two of Pentacles. You have to make a decision about what it is that you want, what is of value to you. And I understand that there is this desire to settle down and just, you don't want to take anybody that's not going to truly settle with you, or, that's truly going to look for long-term commitments. You shouldn't be looking for it either. Not saying that, not to go after what you want, but like, you shouldn't expect everyone that you date to be as quick to get married and settle down as you are. And who's to say that this person is definitely for you if you don't take the time to get to know them? Remember, everything happens for a reason. Time is given to us to understand what we need to understand, so we can avoid situations, so we can understand the person or understand the circumstance a lot better than what we looked at from the situation up close. Because think about this, and I actually got this from a comedy skit. I don't know if you guys have seen it, Equimity, I think it is. I can't remember. It's one of Dave Chappelle's newer stand-ups, and he was talking about in the very end how the situation when something first happens, we're all close up to the elephant, right? The elephant's skin, right? You can't see that that skin is actually to an elephant. You just know that that's gray and it's scaly or it's wrinkly and it looks weird, right? But it takes time for the situation to back itself out so you can see the whole picture, right? This is the same situation. You don't know everything when you first start out, and it's hard to kind of accept that because it's also requiring you to just trust the situation and see how it goes from there. But this is one of those situations where you just have to see The situation is way too close up to your face right now to identify if it's an elephant or if it's um if it's a rhino, right? You don't know, because they have the same kind of skin, right? But you don't know what kind of situation this is until time is given to it for you to be able to step back and see the whole picture, see everything from what it is, and see how it plays out in your world. So give it the patience that it needs, because what this last two is showing you is that this is judgment in the Eight of Wands. There's some sort of opportunity that comes up that requires communication. It requires the flow of progress, right? And I feel like it's not necessarily just communication, but it's also about moving forward. It's about taking the steps ahead and going for it. Not to completely just, just completely just cut something off, but giving it the opportunity that it's going to need, or giving it the time it needs to understand it, and go for it, and then change your mind later if it need be. Because you always can change your mind. It may be hard to change your mind, but it's definitely an option. Your back is never ever up against the wall, fam. Okay, so let's take a look at what oracle cards you have. Alright, what does Gemini need to hear from Messenger Oracle? What does Gemini need to hear from Messenger Oracle? What does Gemini need to hear from the Messenger Oracle? What does Gemini need to hear from the Messenger Oracle? What does Gemini need to hear from the Messenger Oracle? Heed the messengers. And that totally talks about not ignoring the signs. And that doesn't mean that, hey, if this person is a bad influence, run away. It's more of like, hey, if this person, it makes you happy, and you're just listening to the fears that are ringing around in your mind because of everything you've experienced, do you want them to win and keep you from being happy? Or do you want to try, see if this is exactly something that you've always wanted? And I'm feeling like pulling you guys to surrender the Power of Surrender card, because I'm addicted to these cards. I know it's probably like the third week in a row I've used these, but this is one of my favorite cards ever. Okay, it's best cards ever. But yeah, heed the messenger. Don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore the messages just because it's too frightening to see what could happen. What could go wrong. It's always easy to think about what can go wrong, but it's always hard to stay optimistic and see the other side. Right? Realistically, you can always be prepared for the worst, but why not also expect the best? Alright, you guys also have surrender your attachments to results. See what I'm saying? Guys, the formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen. Then let go of the results. Holding on too tight to a desired outcome can sabotage it. Like I said, you have got to give it time. You have got to give it space. You have to give yourself time and space to figure out if this is exactly what you want. Looking for something from the very beginning will stress you out, and also leave you to be very unhappy because you're not looking for something that can be given to you in the second's notice. It can't be given to you in sex notice. It has to take time. It has to grow. You have to overcome the challenges and the struggles. You have to understand the dynamic between you and a different person. And I feel like the person that's the end of your life right here is not doing anything to be malicious or hurtful, but they're doing what's best for them, and you have to do what's best for you and not think about what could come of this relationship and just focus on what you want right now. What you want to feel right now. Do you want to feel love? Because love can come and love is here. If you want a commitment, why don't you just sign a contract with somebody and work with them, right? If it's a commitment that you want, there's other ways to do it than being in a relationship that requires you to feel. Because a relationship cannot be blossomed from looking for something straight up from being a commitment. You have to look from it in a heart place, being able to receive and give love. And if you can't give it, that sort of commitment may not be the kind of commitment that you should look for, because that one is requiring you to be emotionally open and to focus solely on love and not with the destination. because love doesn't take you places. Love is emotions. Okay? It's hard, y'all. I understand, considering that you guys have obviously every reason to be worried and stressed out, and to be even hesitant when it comes to future relationships, considering maybe the past one didn't work out. But you have to trust. If you want anything to grow in your favor at all, you have to trust.